From the great halls of their house, there are assembled three who hope to one day be the world's greatest driving heroes. Created from the cosmic legends of the universe comes our team captain, the Vision, Bill Fisher. Their soon-to-be Wonder Woman, Vicky Fisher. Our Captain Marvel and head flight trainee, Jennifer Skripchuk. And our Batman, the master of tools, gadgets, and all things mechanical, our mild-mannered soon-to-be billionaire, Alan Danvers. Their mission, to fight injustice, share what is right and wrong, to get you out of your house and come out racing with them, and serve all mankind. They are the Garage Heroes in Training Team.
Captain's Log Supplemental.
Miss Vicky.
Yes, sir.
You know what?
What?
I've been thinking about this Sentinel system.
Yeah. Tell me about the Sentinel system.
So what I was thinking was, we have the one car that's got the aim dash that's slowing us down. Because installing the aim dash is actually, it probably is easy, but it's quite hard the first time. And we haven't figured that out yet. The Sentinel system is really easy to set up. So what I was thinking was, why don't we put it in the Lemons car? And we'll worry about the aim data information separately. And we'll kind of break it down into a project. Because then we'd have the motorsports video system that we really, really want, and we'd be able to stream it. We just won't have the data inside, but we have the data outside, so we can combine them later. But I think that's a really good solution.
So what does this Sentinel system do?
Well, if it had the aim data, it would have all the data on the screen, and you could see all their telemetry and everything live. But we'd be able to not only record it for viewing after the race, but we could actually watch our car during the race.
Ooh, like on the monitor and everything?
On a monitor, if you were at home and I was at a track, or if you were at the track and I was at home, depends on who gets the short straw, but we'd be able to watch each other.
It's something I've always wanted to do.
And you know what? If you're driving, you know what you can do on the Sentinel system?
What's that?
You can communicate to me with your hands, and I can't do a thing about it.
Even better.
So, if you need to give a wave or a Jersey wave, whatever you need, we could save it and see it on the screen. And then you can have up to 3 different cameras, and it'll have picture in picture. You'll have the basic main shot out the front window, and then 2 cameras where you put them wherever you want. One could be on the driver, or one could be on the rear view. It's kind of cool.
Then we can upload it onto YouTube.
We could bore millions of people on YouTube.
I love it.
All right. Very well. You know what the only downside I see about this?
What?
Your mom and my mom are going to be panic stricken the entire weekend watching this thing to see if everything's going well.
This is true.
We probably shouldn't tell them.
I like the idea of having a Sentinel.
Well, luckily we have maybe 2. Depends on how things go. We're going to try. All right. That sounds like a plan. That's the project. We got to get that ready for the next race.
Sounds great.
All right. Very well. Thank you, ma'am. I get made fun of for all my intros to Dominating with Dawson. So
it's so easy.
Yeah,
it's so easy.
We're just gonna say
hi, Ben. Let's just skip Bill.
Hey.
Hi, Ben.
Right.
How are you?
What is up? Let's get into it. What are we doing?
Wow.
I don't want to hear Bill complaining, so we're just going to move on.
But,
so, Ben,
wow.
I know. We're just going to move on. Ben, I got a question. All right.
Oh,
so, yeah.
I've got hand signals for you, by the way.
Yeah, right. So I'm working on my car. Our car, the race car. It's a 93 Honda Civic D series and SI. So we were, and just for our audience, it's already on Facebook. And so anyway, we were installing a cool suit. I realized when I had wired up the cool suit that the power source that I had attached it to did not have power. So in the process,
fuse either.
No. So I was realizing, as our very good friend Chris Abbott looked at the wiring situation in my car with a heavy sigh.
Maybe more than one heavy sigh.
Yeah, that there's a lot of stuff that's attached to my kill switch, which should not be because it doesn't have a fuse to it. So that's going to be one area that needs to be addressed. But, and a good chunk of my harness was removed by the former owner. And we ended up putting a power source. We ended up putting the partial harness back in, changed the fuse, got the cool suit running. And as Jennifer went out to hop in the car and take off, suddenly it is not running. It cranks, it does not turn over. So I don't.
So
go ahead.
We were thinking we could use this as a example of how to work through diagnosing and working through a car.
Yes.
This is just kind of, for instance, let's use this as our example because it happens and we need help. And we thought maybe for Dominic or Dawson, we could go through how you troubleshoot when you're having problems with your car and all you're doing is banging your head against the wall. And it should be very simple. Car ran yesterday, car no run today.
Okay. Now this is because I am apprenticing. So I am a decent part swapper, but I am not so great at diagnosing. So I do have help from Honda people or Honda person and other mechanics. So I had gone through and checked my wires to make sure so far nothing looks obviously unattached. Then I went, and in this particular vehicle, the distributor, everything that's electrical pretty much is in the housing of the distributor, including the ignition coil. Changed the entire, I didn't want to play with it. I changed the entire distributor for now. I'll worry about what I had before later. And I figure, okay, that's something. It didn't turn over at all. So I figure, okay, I'm going to go now and check the spark plugs and the spark plug wires. So in my
talk us through about kind of what was made. What was your decision making process on why you're like, let me try this
okay,
next.
Well,
what are you kind of thinking about?
Well, Chris was also assisting me, but from what I gather is like I need to follow what, and I'm talking through this like a whiteboard now, is as I need to follow it from why it isn't getting spark. Okay. So that leads me to following the lines, the spark plug lines to the spark plugs. Mm-hmm. So I figure I'm just going to try to check the obvious first, check the spark plugs. So one was fine. Number two well was completely filled with oil.
Oh, that's exactly how you're supposed to be, right?
Right. So three and four were fine. So I didn't get to check the wires yet, but I popped the engine cover, valve cover, and I pulled the spark plug, obviously, and cleaned up the whole area. Unfortunately, every stinking part that I have is sitting in the car trailer on the opposite end of the airfield. So
naturally.
Of course, so I figured what I was going to do is I would just clean up what I have. And I realized that the gasket for number two was just a little bit higher than everything else. I don't know if that has anything to do with that. So I took that off and I reset it. We pulled it. We double checked to make sure it was okay. It looked fine. So I went down there and I got a socket and I hit it with a hammer and I kind of gave it a nice level bang. And because before I put it in with my hands, I didn't know you could do that with a socket. Cleaned up the whole area. I didn't have a fresh spark plug. I didn't have, fresh lines. So I just kind of hit it with some brake clean. Mm-hmm. Was that okay? But I cleaned it up because I wanted to make sure it was nice and dry. I set it in front of the fan so it made sure it dried out. And I did the same thing for the plug itself. And let it sit and cleaned it out, nicely dry, put everything back in. Still didn't start. So now what I'm thinking is that I'm going to replace the spark plug completely because I don't know. And I was going to take a look at
if the three of the four were working, wouldn't you be running like maybe on 3 cylinders?
I have no idea.
You're not getting any spark.
I have no idea. I have no idea what that means, but I mean, that could happen. Not that I don't know what that means, but I have no idea
Well,
that could happen.
If you have a car that has a V8 and you're missing a cylinder, people say you're running on 7 cylinders, which could happen. You know, if you're running a 6-cylinder engine and you've lost a cylinder, which means that cylinder is not firing, that could be another reason why it's kind of filling up the oil. So everything else is still firing and making, you know, in your case, maybe 3/4 of the power. You know, it's running rough, but it might be able to run with 3 of the 4 cylinders firing. So I think that maybe you might be still looking for why you're not getting any spark at all. Like he's cranking over, so your starter's turning it over, but you're not igniting anything yet. So
So now
I'm not sure you're looking at that one plug is maybe is the source. Could be, but
so now
not the direction I would go.
Right. So anyway, now it either is maybe the spark plug wires. I'm going to pull the other spark plug, see what else is going on with them completely, but they seem to be fine from when I just took a quick look at them.
I know Miatas of my generation that I had, like from the mid-90s, were notorious for eating spark plug wires. So you would need to change the spark plug wires in a Miata more often than some other engines. So some cars just have sort of foibles like that. So maybe worth getting on the specific various forums that definitely exist for whatever sub genre of Honda engine you have. There's definitely forums out there, and I would just search like whatever your Honda is, like whatever your engine code is, like a HB 549 or whatever. I would search your engine code, and I would search your engine code, no spark, and you'll find a million different directions to go in. Also,
really, so I could just put in a D. What are we?
D16.
Absolutely.
D16.
Put those letters and numbers in that order in the internet and say no spark and see how many thousand results pop up. But I mean, you gotta do the kind of internet sleuthing that I'm always recommending doing, where I kind of like to go gain consensus among people who are able to post cogent responses with full sentences. That's usually a good clue that it's somebody who's probably been through it a couple of times and might know what they're talking about. And if I can find a handful of those such type characters pointing me in the same direction, I'm gonna go sniffing in that direction. But I'll definitely because people on the internet, I never do it. But thank God there's so many people out there who like to exhibit and show their work, like take pictures of the things they just did. Like, I had to replace the thing. Here's all the 100 pictures I took of doing it. I'm so grateful to those people. But anytime I come up kind of at a loss with the things I would naturally try to do, like if my own prowess as a mechanic hadn't got me there, I will shoot right over to YouTube or internet comment sections or forums and see what else I can find. But I promise you, within the Honda aftermarket world and performance world, there's certainly a thriving community for your exact engine, and they'll tell you a lot of the crap that you might not have thought of yet.
I had never thought about actually putting in my engine
number.
Yeah,
dude.
I didn't even think about that.
That's their whole tribe. There are whole tribes of people who are out there that just love this one engine, and for whatever reason, probably you're gonna find an answer where somebody's got that engine code tattooed on their arm and is answering your question probably.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So anyway, I'm moving on, but I guess one of our issues we're thinking was that
that's usually our issue. We thinking.
There you
go.
Could it be because that I had this extra piece of harness that I was trying to fit up underneath the steering wheel? Could I have loosened something up underneath there that was wire related? That would not make that car turn over. That's
we're in the mystery zone now, but yeah, this is kind of where your troubleshooting is going to take you as far as talking about the process of how you do it and where you go.
But I guess what I'm saying is there wiring that's up underneath inside that could do that?
Sure.
We're here to talk about a general process of troubleshooting, and you're asking me, did this piece of stereo wire I maybe did or didn't?
Well, I don't. Yeah, you're right.
Fucking me up. Like I don't know. We're just talking about in general. Like here's how you gotta get out.
Okay.
You're
right.
I don't know this. I don't know the specifics of your janky ass race car.
You're right.
So back to dominating with Dawson.
Yeah.
How do you logically work through? Okay.
Yeah.
We're gonna take 1 sec. So for this dominating with Dawson, with a guest Jeremy popping in now.
Jeremy Hall has arrived.
How would you, using the example of the Honda, how would you approach a car that's having a problem running, and what would the logical thoughts be, kind of problem solving that you would do? Because a lot of, well, especially on our team, almost all of us are horrible at diagnosing things, and a lot of our listeners may be new to this, so that maybe they're not great at diagnosing things. So what kind of thoughts do you guys have for, a way to generically try to solve a problem with the car that, it used to run and now she no run?
Right. It depends on what kind of no run you're talking about too. But
yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's why we're trying to narrow it down a little bit with our mess, but it's
right.
Methodology maybe could be as generic as possible.
Yeah, I mean, if you turn the key and nothing happens, go see if the battery's hooked up.
Sure.
I mean, you got to kind of follow the logical steps of what's making this thing not do the thing it needs to be doing. If it's making a bunch of sounds like it's trying to crank, and you can see, pull a spark plug wire off and see that you're making spark. Maybe see if you have gas in the car. You just follow the logical steps. Like, this thing is failing in this certain way. Let me try to find the thing that enables this thing to usually work. Is that helping me or not? Is this thing happening or not? And then if that thing is functioning like it's supposed to, you kind of just keep going up the logical chain of why am I still not starting if this thing is working? You know what I mean? So it's kind of a process of deductive reasoning.
What about the I don't know if it came from movies or came from TV or whatever, but all you need is gas, air, and spark. The rest of it's easy. So you go down those three logical paths. Is that something that's been fruitful for you guys, or are we listening to the wrong TV show?
I've never heard that, but I mean, those are some things that are very key to your any combustion engine moving you down the road.
Yeah, I mean, air, fuel, and spark. So obviously, you've got air. If your mass airflow sensor is hooked up, then you move on to the next thing. You move into if I turn the key and it's pumping fuel. You've got fuel. Pull a spark plug out. Check and make sure you've got spark at your spark plugs. And then if you have all those three things, now you have to move on to all the other diagnosing, that needs to be done to figure out what's going on, like Ben said.
Like if your seat reclines or.
Well, I mean, really, you got to make sure your taillights are working. But no, seriously.
Blinker fluid.
I mean, I'll if we're talking about this, and especially geared toward people who are relatively new to this, I should say I've been doing this crap for a while, and like I'll give up almost immediately and try to find somebody who I think knows better than me. Like I'll go ask for help. Like I'm shameless about it. I don't care. I don't have any kind of. The only thing I have pride in as a track is my own driving. Like when it comes to getting the car on track, I will immediately start begging for help if I can't figure out what's going on. So I think that's one of your biggest tools in your tool chest is being friendly and having a few people like you, and then maybe when you approach them for help, they'll maybe help you out. But I mean, I think one of the biggest things you can do is be smart about trying to figure out who's running stuff similar to you. Maybe get to know them a little bit. I think that's a really good idea, because asking for help and getting effective help is one of the biggest tools in your tool chest. If you kind of immediately run aground on talent, which happens to my dumbass a lot, like almost immediately.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the other big things too is that race cars are so different than street cars. So like when Ben was talking about making sure the battery is hooked up, and the battery is good, right? Well, right. That's only one part of that power issue, because if you've got a bad kill switch and your battery's hooked up, you've got no power going to the motor. You've got no power going up there. So your starter may not work. Right. So there's all these other variables that go into this with race cars, and making sure that everything is there and good.
Especially if the OBD2 is not really connected, or if the car is old enough, it doesn't really have one,
Yep.
All that fun stuff. Well, I guess that'll help somebody maybe to fix their car. And if they want to, maybe I'll publish this really fast so we can get it out before Thompson. If they have an idea why our car won't start.
we're getting there. We got to cut. We're getting there.
Are y'all taking that piece of crap to Thompson, the one that won't run?
Yes. All the other ones are broken too.
Oh, Ben, we'll get it running, even if it's not running before it goes to Thompson. We'll get that thing fixed by Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you guys know how to ask for help too, right?
Oh yeah. That
you know, I have so many people with so many opinions on what it could be that honestly, the car is like the car literally is a Lego, and it's quite simple to get to everything. Right. That it's my diagnosis skill level right now, but you know, I am figuring it out, so I'm getting there.
Okay. Garage Heroes in training.
The facial expression you made that our listeners can enjoy, like Vicky gave herself that whole speech, and then her facial expression was kind of like a.
Well, I mean, yeah, it is tough to fix a car or help diagnose a car over the phone, you know, without it being there, because there's so many different things that go into it.
Yeah, I know.
Especially as you know, because we call you all the time.
Which is fine. I love helping. It's a matter of, you know, what direction what questions to ask, and then what direction to send you in to go to, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. As Bill keeps saying, we were tinkering around with the wiring and all of a sudden it wasn't running.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, the oily is a whole different, it's an issue. 100% it's an issue. We should fix it.
You mean the oily spark plug?
Yeah. But that's not why it's not
running. Great. That's not great. Yeah.
I thought Bill's like, I found an engine. I'm like, hold on. We're not there. We have 3 engines on the shelf. We're okay.
We can replace parts.
I said,
I can have an engine tomorrow.
You know, everyone, my husband, very much so.
Problems.
He does, but he is definitely, when you need a screwdriver, he brings a sledgehammer. I always say it.
The trigger man over here. I got it.
They don't go bad.
It needs a valve cover gasket and spark plug.
He's like, I got a new engine.
I got an
engine. We'll use this other one as a spare. Let's get it out of here.
They don't go bad. It's not like they're going to, get stale or something.
Just add it to the 3 that are on the shelf already, you know.
He's got a JDM pipeline in place already, just pumping over 40,000 mile engines from Japan.
You know.
All I hear from our friend on the Race FF podcast, Jaime, he's like, these engines are getting really hard to find, and you can't find any transmissions. And I'm sitting there going, I got 3 of them and 2 of them. Jaime, come out this way, man. We'll take care of you, man.
They're ours. We're hiding them. We're stuffing them underneath the shelf because we need every single one of them.
Well,
I think he is.
Where you guys live, everything but those parts rusts away, and then you're left with a pretty good motor by the time the salt has done its job. So you still got some pretty good parts left over.
Right.
The engine's protected by that rusty chassis.
We got the race truck from him, right?
Yeah.
So we're going through parts, and here's 5 transmissions.
Jesus.
Like, what do you need 5 transmissions for? Oh, those two broke. This is a good spare, and
this one has a good shift knob, so we kept this one for the shift knob.
No, it's not quite that bad. The only thing wrong with the 2 of them was that the 5th gear was gone.
Here's the serious
somebody
question.
Put the truck in 5th gear.
Here's the serious question for Jeremy: did you take all 5 of them?
No. I let Alan take the ones that were broken, and I took the one that was good.
That's good. Smart man.
So Alan likes broken things.
Yeah.
So with the S10, they had the shifter was in 2 different positions. So there was 2 different styles. So that's why we had some of the ones that we had.
The reason is because the transmissions, I think the ones that we pulled, some of them were the ones that we pulled, and the new ones, the original ones that we were using got so freakishly expensive and hard to find. So we had to go to a different series of transmission, which means we had to adjust the shifter. And there's a couple little nuances that we had to change. We had to make adjustments to the truck for, and literally it was like $500, $600 cheaper. Mm-hmm. For the,
and 5th gear still doesn't work.
Right.
So our talk about diagnosing problems has gone straight to how many engines and transmissions can we pile up?
Bill, I tell you, Bill's got Bill has a clicker button. I mean, he's got a clicker finger. He has a clicker finger.
So
and
I ordered more shelving today.
And speaking of that, I have two brand new mouses for you for your computer.
Mises?
Oh wow.
Mises. I'm just kidding.
I love me some Mises. All right. So I don't know if we did anything on this Dominate with Dawson, but we did. We talked about it. And remember, if you can get our Honda started for Thompson race this weekend, garage heroes and trading at gmail.com.
Yeah, use your powers of deductive reasoning, use the internet, use people at the track, and that's how you diagnose a car. Hopefully you know somebody who's smarter than you can get you out there on the track quicker than you probably would on your own. I don't know. That's what I had to say.
And if it's a common race car, bring it to the track as a last resort. There's usually somebody there who says, "Oh, it's easy. It's just this." And
you know what? I'm looking at it going, it's a stupid solution. I know it is. Yeah. It can't be that difficult because a lot of the stuff that is a problem has already been weeded out. So it's a nuanced thing right at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So
we'll get there.
Yeah, we will. I'm not upset about it.
The cookie rises. Cookie will be drinking milk. No problem.
Yep.
All right.
And once you've gone to all the basics and make sure that all of your sensors are plugged in, nothing came unplugged, then move on to the next thing. And then when that doesn't work, you do what Ben said and just ask around.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing.
Worst comes to worst, push it back onto the trailer and bring it to Thompson.
Yep.
We'll find people. Somebody knows what's going on. All right.
Yep.
Somebody will fix it.
Dominate with Dawson. We're done. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Adios.